Ready?
Hey, I'm Faisal from Eurostar Performance here. I'm going to show you how to do an emulator for your W207 or alike with your steering lock issues that you guys experience. This is the process we use to add this emulator with a ignition key and a working key that goes with this ignition. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get that steering lock out, and we're going to add this emulator so it can go ahead and start back up. Alright, we're going to start with the IM608 here, and let's go straight to Mercedes, and we'll show you the steps. Alright, go into manual, and we have a C class, which is going to be between 08 and 14. That's correct. And I'm going to show you a route. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, and I'm just going to show you the efficient way to do this. Instead of jumping around and reading this and that, let's just go straight to the first thing. Main thing we need is a key password. So we're going to use the key password. So let's go to W207 here, and this will give us our layout. After that, we're going to go through a few steps. That will let us get our key password for this EIS. And the way you find out what model you have, you just flip this over, and the first number right next to it will tell you your chassis number. This one is a W207. So let's go ahead and put this ignition key so it can detect that. And it does. And now it's saying to insert it into the IR hole of the programmer. We're going to go ahead and do that, and just remember this is our original ignition key that was shipped to us, and we are actually adding an emulator. So this is definitely not a smart key. Nope. Alright, so we have possibilities of keys, no problem there. Let's go to the next step. We're going to use a blank key just to get the key password. So we just go ahead and put our frequency here. And then we're going to put this blank key into the IR hole, just like it says so. And with this method, you'll notice that it just saves you a lot more time than going back and forth. Obviously, this is definitely not a blank key, so we're going to go ahead and get that corrected. And obviously, a password. We don't have the password. We need to get the password. So we're going to enter the calculation part to receive the password. So let's see if we can get this started. We're going to go ahead and put the ignition key into the EIS. Let's just wait there. We're going to go ahead and start that process. Okay, we got that there. Insert the ignition key into the EIS. Original key into the EIS. And by the way, this harness is a custom harness that was designed specifically for the W204, W207, and alike chassis. It just makes doing these emulators at a large amount a lot easier for us instead of pitting them out. Just saves so much time. You can actually look for these kits online, and you'll be able to find them. They're nicely labeled and lets you know exactly what chassis what's for. So it kind of makes it a lot handier if you do more than 1 or 2 units. We generally do about at least about 100 to 200 units already on this unit, so this harness works out really well for us. So this step takes a few minutes, always, since we've done so many of these that I think the memory is getting blocked up in it. But hopefully it'll take another minute or so, and we can actually pause here for a second until this comes through. We'll be right back. Pause it. Back here, and it says to go ahead and insert our ignition key into the EIS, which is the original. We're going to go ahead and do that. Start that. Countdown starts. Please confirm if it can be turned. Yep, it's turning. Great, perfect. And let's see, after pulling that out, put the IR. Okay, let's do that and see what the next step will be. Generally, it takes about 10 to 30 minutes to break a password calculation. It's a pretty long number that you need to transfer the data from this EIS and this key. We need to transfer all this data into this emulator. So once these 3 items work together, everything is in sync. if one unit goes out, vehicle will not run. Usually it's the steering lock that always fails. And with this emulator, all you have to do is basically send us your ignition and a key, working key, and you'll be able to get an emulator to go back with your vehicle. And you have an option to get a whole nother key while you're here for another surcharge. So we're going to pause here, and this is going to calculate our password for our EIS. Let's go ahead and wait, and we'll get right back to you after we get our password. All right, we're back. Roughly took about 6 minutes or so. This is our EIS password. This is the number we need to basically use to unlock this unit and put this data from this EIS into this emulator. That is our password, key password. Okay, since that's all done now, okay, we'll go ahead and put this back into the EIS for 30 seconds. We really don't need to go ahead any further from this problem. Since we already have the password, that's the only thing we really need. But we're just going to go ahead and finish this up and see if we can exit out of here. The best procedure is kind of go through it and wait for an exit and be gone out of there. Or we'll pause right here and then we'll come right back to it. Okay, we're back. We're pretty much done with the process. We just found out the customer does want a second key. So we're going to go ahead and activate this key for them. So we are done. Key addition is complete. So insert the new key into the vehicle's EIS and see if it turns. Okay, yep, everything is working perfect. So that means this new key has been accepted by this EIS. So these two keys are now part of this EIS system, ignition system. Okay, we're not done yet. What we have to do next is basically read the EIS data, all of that, and then go into ESL, load that file, and write the file. That's it. So what we're going to do now is basically go to EIS tools. From there, what we need to do is read the EIS data. We're going to do this through OBD on bench. W207 is what we have. There's our diagram. And let's see what we got here. So now it's going to read the whole EIS data. Everything that we have done already, even with adding this second key, is all stored in this unit here, the ignition, EIS. So here it tells us everything about keys, what keys have been used, what keys are left, key numbers, key hash IDs, disable statuses, pretty much all the information is in here. Your vehicle mileage is in here, special key numbers, last occupied key, and if it's initialized, cleared, and personalized and active. There you go. So we're going to save this EIS data. It's going to be saved to this VIN number with this date. So we want to pay attention to that and make sure we get the right data. So now that we've saved this data into our unit here, we're going to go into ESL tools. We're going to pick our W207. We're going to and what we're going to do after that is we're going to write the ESL data. So we're going to take the EIS data from here and write it into this ESL. And that's all you have to do. There's no saving, no reading of this unit. All you have to do is read this, get the password, and write it into here. And no jumping around from here and read this, read that. I don't know what's going on YouTube about this, but this is a very simple process. So, see, as we're writing the ESL, it automatically reads it for you. So, it's a one press button. I've seen a lot of videos where they are talking about loading the ESL data, loading this and going back to that, loading this to that. I'm just giving you a nice simple way of doing this. And this right here tells us all our key numbers, hash IDs, and this now is in our ESL. Okay, so we're going to write this data for ESL that we took from here and the keys into our ESL. Okay, so we need to locate our files. So what we're going to do now is go into our EIS coding and see where we loaded those files. All right, let's pause right there for a second while we find that file. Back here, we're going to go back to that file that we got from EIS. So we're going to load the EIS data that we saved out of here. And there's our date. It tells me exactly when it was done. So that was 9/13, this is 9/60. So this will be our file right here, according to our VIN and timestamp. So we're going to go ahead and hit that button there. So we can go ahead and load the files that were in here. And what we're going to do is write those files into the ESL. So this is going to be all a married system. And as soon as you receive your new ESL, all you would have to do is plug it in, plug in your ignition, and start up the vehicle. So here's our ESL data, serial number, values, and key information. So we're going to hit that OK. So now we want to write the ESL data. So let's go ahead and write it. So it's going to read it again. And we need to locate that file again just to write it one time, just to make sure everything is working proper. So let's see here. Reading data. And we should be back to file. We'll pause right there until we read. All right, we're back. And we were in our EIS and EEPROM file folder. This right here has a secondary folder. The secondary folder is the EIS data that we read, and that says 916 on it. So we're going to go ahead and click that, go down to 916. There's our VIN that matches with our EIS and the keys, date stamp. So we're going to hit OK here. So it's going to go ahead and load the files. So basically what's going on now, it's loading the files from here, all of the details that are ready, almost ready in a folder that will be inserted into here. Once the password is added, this will allow the process to move into this new steering lock emulator. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to go OK, and you'll see our EIS SSID is already there. So what we need to enter here is our key password. So I'll be right back with the key password. Go ahead here, and this is our key password that we obtained from our key addition method. That way we could get our password just from this secondary key. So we got our password in there, already has our SSID here. We're going to go ahead and hit OK, double check, make sure your passwords match. Here we are. It's going to go ahead and write the ESL data. Now we got permission from our EIS to enter into our new ESL module. Okay, so go ahead, OK here, and we are actually done. That is it. This unit is done. You can see here it'll make an imitation sound when you enter. Put the key in. Remove it, and this is our new key. So everything is being accepted, and that's a way you can test and make sure that your EIS is locked with it. Should just make one click in, one click out. That means everything in our end here is completed. There's a good way to read all the data now. So what we can do here is read our ESL if you wanted to, just to make sure everything is encoded properly. So what we've done now is we went ahead and married this unit, which is the ESL electronics locks, to our EIS system, which is the ignition system for our Mercedes W207. We have a secondary key and the primary key. The only thing we need here is just the ignition switch and a working key. That way we can get emulators here. So we have plenty of emulators here to go ahead and code and ship back as soon as possible. Alright, so we're back here. What we're going to do is a final check before we send out anybody's new emulator. What we want to do is go to check ESL. And with this, it will let us know if the ESL is activated and is working with our ignition and key system. So what we'll do here is check ESL with this all hooked up. It says steering column lock is okay. So what that means is we are good to go. This customer is going to receive their steering lock emulator the same day back and ship back to them as soon as possible. So we provide excellent service, very, very fast service, and we've been doing this for a long time. So here are our details. If you'd like to get to us, give us a call, an email, or whatever you like. If you have any cloning or any other items that you need cloned, or any type of TCMs, PCMs, anything like that, give us a shout out or give us a comment, and we'll get back to you.